Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming this afternoon to our kickoff event. You might already see some blue around town. We've started putting out signs and pinwheels, so that's very exciting. Getting ready, and there'll be more after today. I want to thank the Exchange Club. It was very exciting when they reached out and asked if they could help with this. Their national project is child abuse prevention. They started the Family Resource Center, so they're a great partner for this month. So we appreciate that. They have some programs of service, which are Americanism, youth, and community service. So if any of you are interested in Exchange, there's some things on the tables there. It's a fun little group to be a part of. But thank you for putting this on and having us all here. So why are we here? I think we all know that answer. However, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and it's a time to celebrate the good things that we are doing through our communities and through our organizations for kids. So this year's theme is do more of what you love to create. And I love that. So we all have things that we enjoy doing, and they're just asking that we share that with families and that we share that with kids. So I love gardening. So my challenge would be to find maybe a kiddo that needs a little extra attention, that needs the focus to be on them and maybe not the craziness of the home, and say, hey, let's go plant some flowers, or my church has a community garden, we can go there and do some work. And so to give that kid a break and to give him some one-on-one positive adult attention. So you think about the things that you love to create, the things you love to do, and how can you share that with other people. If you love to cook, help a single mom out, take her some dinner so she doesn't have to do that, relieve some of that stress. So that's really what we're trying to promote this month is child abuse prevention is all of our jobs. It's all of our jobs, and we can help, we can raise awareness. We have signs and pinwheels in the back over there. If you don't have yours yet, you can put those out in your yard, take a picture, and post it to your Facebook page or your social media, and hashtag pinwheels for prevention. So just to get the awareness out that is what this month is, and to promote people doing good things for families and kids. So, Children's Bureau, where I work, right? We have a prevention program called Community Partners, and it is a program fully designed to help keep kiddos out of the DCS system, out of foster care, out of harm's way. So we get families that are just struggling and need a little help, and our case managers go in their homes, they help them determine kind of what their goals are, what it is that they're struggling with, and then they help them meet those goals so that we can prevent any further involvement, we can help them achieve stability for them and their children. And thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I thought about the increase in the stories that I hear about grandparents raising their grandkids. That is happening a lot. That's definitely something that we're seeing an increase of as parents are struggling with the different issues of today. And so as we're challenging doing more of what you love to create, I think of those grandparents, maybe giving them a break, maybe helping them understand social media, because I have a 14-year-old son and I still don't understand everything he's doing. So we are seeing an influx of those in our programs, and that's kind of my challenge from Children's Bureau to you all, is to help a grandparent that's raising their kids, see how you can help support them.
So I always tell folks, the Children's Bureau sent us a few little talking points to go over today, like Stephanie mentioned, things that we can do to help kids in the community and stuff like that. But I always say that, our biggest role is to recruit volunteers to serve the kids that we work with. And so I should be fired if I don't talk to you about our need for volunteers whenever I'm in front of you. So that's what I want to do today. And I always tell a little bit of a story for you to kind of envision. Those of you that have heard me speak before have heard this, but we have a lot of new people with us today, which is awesome. We have some new faces, and I'm glad that you get to hear about all of the great work that some of us are doing in the community, all of us that you're going to hear from today. But I always like you to stop and just, either close your eyes or just imagine that if you were a child and you were in the middle of a court case, and just imagine how terrifying that would be. It's really scary, especially for a child who's done nothing wrong, which are the children that my agency work with. And those that they trust the most are the ones that harmed or neglected them. So just imagine being those individuals, and imagine your own life and those that you trust being be the individuals that did something to you. And I always say too, and I know everyone in this room did not have picture perfect childhoods, but just imagine your own home and your own family, the belongings that you had as a child. If you had a favorite toy or a favorite pet or something like that, imagine this if all at once that was ripped away from you. Imagine just in one single moment, rather it be the police, a DCS worker, or somebody that had to come in and intervene for your own safety, and imagine all those belongings and all that was important to you at that time was ripped away from you. It's very scary, as you can imagine. You're no longer living with your siblings. You're no longer in your bedroom that you had or where you slept. You're not going to the same school quite often. You don't see the same friends day in and day out. And then all of a sudden you have all these people showing up at your door. They want to talk to you. They want you to tell about what the people you trusted the most did to you or did not provide for you. They're in and out of your life daily. They come to your school. You're going to therapy visits, so on and so forth. And you feel like, even though those individuals want to talk to you, you feel like you really have no one to talk about your feelings with. You just feel confused and lost in this massive system. And I always say that's when a CASA volunteer can step in. CASA volunteers are the child's voice in the court, as you know. We are champions for the best interest of the children, and we do look out for the children's best interests. We do best interest advocacy. We help assure abused and neglected children move into safe and permanent homes where we want to see them thrive. We want to see that permanency. We don't want children lingering in the foster care system, especially when it's not needed. And so that's where we try to help to get them into that safe home quickly. These children really need a friend through the process, and that's what a CASA volunteer is. They're their friend and they're their voice. In recent years, I have told you guys at this event each year, Madison County has been ranked 5th in the state for substantiated child abuse and neglect. Well, since the first of just this year, we are now 3rd in the state of Indiana for substantiated child abuse and neglect. And you heard a little bit, from Steve that, we do live in a community that has some issues, and it's up to us to help fix those problems and help the children. Last year, just for example, my program had a total of 1,106 open cases just in 1 year's time. Those are cases that are left open, they carry over, and then the new cases that are assigned. That's very difficult for an agency my size. We have about 15 employees and probably about 50-some volunteers. So we have a lot of kids that go on a waiting list that are waiting for that friend, waiting for that voice, and waiting for someone just to listen to them. And that's where we need you. We need you to step up. Be a volunteer if you have that calling to do so. I can see many of you in here that I know would be great as CASA volunteers, and we would love to hear from you. But if you can't, like Steve mentioned earlier, if it's too big of a time commitment, I know every single one of you in this room probably knows one person who would be great as a CASA volunteer. Give them our information, refer them to us. I always say word of mouth is our best PR tool that we have. And then also Steve mentioned, this isn't the time to ask for donations, but all of the agencies here need your help. We're struggling, resources are down across the board in the social service field. I know you hear about on the media the increases that the legislature is looking at for DCS because they're struggling. So across the board that we all are. So if you don't have that calling to volunteer or to step up and do that, maybe you can help in some other fashion as well. So thank you today for coming out to this. We appreciate all of your help, and we really want you to stand along with us and be that individual that helps us break the cycle of abuse in our family.
Good afternoon. Like Annette said, my name is Denise Valdez. I'm the director of Kids Talk Child Advocacy Center. Many of you may not know that we are a program of Aspire Indiana, so we're proud to be part of a program of a company that provides mental health services and primary care and things that a lot of the families that we serve need. And so we're really proud to be a part of Aspire Indiana. Most of you know what we do, but for the few who may never have heard of us until now, we do forensic interviews when kids are reported as abused or neglected. those kids are brought to us, and I have some really talented interviewers that are here in the audience that will talk to kids. And we do that on behalf of the investigators in this county. We do it for law enforcement, we do it for DCS, we do it for the prosecutor's office. But another important part of our program is victim advocacy. All of our staff work. We are the pain in the butt that Steve talked about. That we sometimes make people mad, and I know my staff's doing a great job when they ruffle a few feathers, but they are the ones who will challenge people to do better for kids, and I really thank them for that. But our third program that I'm most proud of that I want to talk about today is our prevention program. We have a prevention program that we do in the majority of schools in Madison County. We talk to students in grades kindergarten through 12 about a lot of things. For the young ones, we talk about body safety, those basic 5 body safety rules. We teach kids that no one is supposed to touch them, no one is supposed to look at their private body parts, no one's supposed to take pictures and videos, and that they should tell an adult that they trust if something happens. And to me, this is important because when I think about the issues of abuse and neglect in our county, and when we're telling kids that they should tell an adult that they trust, it's concerning because we talk to kids after these programs, and it really bothers me when we hear children say that they can't think of what adults they trust. Very concerning. So I think this is something that we can all focus on in this community. I feel like whether it's sexual abuse or physical abuse or neglect, whatever the issue is in this county or with a particular family, we need to create a culture for children to feel safe to speak up. We are a community of concerned people, but we're also a community of families who are struggling. They're struggling with stressors like financial difficulties, possibly domestic violence in the home, emotional issues, and they don't know how to survive. Their only focus may be survival. Their focus is not how to have a healthy family relationship for their children. Many of us in this room were fortunate enough to grow up in healthy family, fun childhoods. So we need to share that wealth. So I guess what I'd like to say is look around in your community, not just the people not just your family, not just your next door neighbor. Look at the families you interact with. Look in your community and see those families. Know the signs of child abuse. Look at the children. If they seem sad, if they seem withdrawn, there's probably an issue. Make a connection with that family. You could do something as simple as taking a care basket to that family just to make that initial contact. Just offer a care basket. Invite kids. If you do something with your family that's fun, invite some of those kids to go along with your family. Make a relationship with the parents. Invite them and start demonstrating what a healthy family relationship looks like. You know, I'm proud to live in a community, despite all our problems. What I love about Madison County is there are so many activities that are low cost and no cost for families, but a lot of people don't know about it. And, you know, we have concerts. Mayor Broderick brought in the synthetic ice rink this year. What a great activity at no cost. There are parades. There are all kinds of activities. We just have to learn about them and educate those families because we have to start somewhere. That is about asking what the family needs, showing and demonstrating what we've grown up with, and connecting them with that. So I want to thank you all for being here and to start thinking about that. Just do what you can to make a difference for kids in this community.
So Exchange Club would like to present to DCS today some fabric. We still are going to make these blankets, but we wanted to give the kiddos, so the whole theme is do what you love to create. So we're going to create some blankets so that when kiddos are at your office and maybe they're there for a really long time or maybe they have to spend the night there, that they can have something snuggy and warm to kind of help through that traumatic event. So wanted to, oh yes, and our national project is Exchange Care. So they really asked that we reached out to and find ways to support kids in our society, in our community.
So our club is going to go ahead and make the blankets up for you and then bring them over with a variety of bags for you to use and give us little bit of time to get them done. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now I'll let you talk. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Very much appreciated. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. How are we? All right. As they said, my name is Ashley Crumbaugh. I am the local office director here in Madison County for the Department of Child Services. So thank you all for being here. We really definitely appreciate it. So as everybody knows, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's a time for us to all get together and remember and advocate for the care and safety of the children here in our community. So there's nothing more important than family, for community and society, than taking care of these who are least able to care for themselves. So as we're aware, children, particularly those under the age of 5, are most likely to be harmed or to be put into harm's way. This month gives us the opportunity to recognize and encourage everyone that they have a role and responsibility in preventing child abuse and neglect. We're all in this together. I feel like that's been a really good theme that we've been talking about today. So how do the actions of one individual, one agency, affect the community as a whole? How can we all work collaboratively to ensure that the most vulnerable individuals of our population are being protected? How do we ensure that the children can live safe, healthy lives? How can we ensure that they're protective? Director Stigdon, who for those who do not know is the director of the Department of Child Services, stated kids do best when they're with their families. More importantly, families do best in strong, safe, and supportive communities. She goes on further to say, we all need to work together to make sure parents have the necessary resources to help every child reach their full potential. So lately, DCS has really been focusing on what we call the safety culture, and that's something that she brought in from the Healthcare Institute. Yeah, you guys are with me. And with that, we've been focusing a lot on our internal values. So the work that we do internally as an agency within DCS is going to impact the communities that we serve on a daily basis. Due to this, I've come to the realization of just how important that community aspect really is. So how can we as a community band together to ensure the safety of the children here in Madison County? So every person needs to realize that they are accountable for themselves, for their actions as well as their inactions. So when a tragedy occurs, when a child is experiencing abuse or neglect by the hands of a loved one, how is it that the local community, the family, their informal supports, their extended family, DCS, the service providers, law enforcement, the court, the judge, thank you for being here today, our prevention providers, medical personnel, the list goes on and on and on. I can't name them all. How can we work together without blaming one another to ensure that that child and that family are going to have the best possible outcome? We need to find a way to incorporate one another's views, values, beliefs, and expertise to find the best outcome for that child and their family. So, we also need to understand that we each have our own set of values and our own set of beliefs. At DCS, we have our very own practice model, which we are currently relaunching, which encompasses our values. They're called values-based on our practice principles. So we're going to go over those values today for you guys. So the first one is respect. So everyone deserves the right to be treated respectfully and have the opportunity for their voice to be heard, no matter how young or old that they are. Prevention. In order to transform the work that we do within the community and within DCS, prevention needs to be the priority, both primary and secondary prevention. For those who do not know, DCS funds prevention programs, and sometimes when we're involved, most of the time when we're involved, we're helping to link families to various community resources because we understand that the state is not the best person or agency to raise children. Safety and stability. Every children deserve these values, as do the families that we're working with. Permanency. As soon as DCS is involved with a child's life, we should be starting for that permanency plan down the future so that everybody knows what our goals are and what we're working towards. Accountability. Parents are ultimately responsible for the care and safety of their children. I'm going to extend this responsibility to every single person in this room and every single person in the community. We have a responsibility to act with the highest level of integrity. We have the responsibility to discuss details when things go wrong, to ask questions, and to accept when we've made mistakes. And to learn from them, because we're going to make mistakes. And then we're going to have to work together and work diligently to prevent ourselves from repeating those mistakes of the past. We're all accountable for our own actions and our own agency outcomes. While each person is accountable for his or her own growth and development, the agencies that we are working with are accountable for providing those opportunities for growth and those learning opportunities. And last but not least for our DCS values is continuous improvement. The way we did things yesterday may not be the best way to do things today or the best way to do things moving forward. So we need to self-reflect, continually assess how efficiently, compassionately, and thoroughly we are doing our work. Children need everybody in their community and their lives to stand up for their safety and the best interest when they are in harm's way. Families who are in crisis or turmoil need support from those who are close to them. So please take time this month to think about what you can do to help protect a child. Spend time with them if they're in your own family. Visit a grandchild, a niece, a nephew, somebody in their neighborhood. Offer to mentor a child in school, outside activities, or within a place of worship. Foster parents are always needed for those children who unfortunately do have to be removed from their homes. Consider becoming a CASA. Obtain a kid's first license plate because the funding for that helps support child abuse prevention activities across the state of Indiana. Be a friend to a parent that you know might be struggling. Call the DCS hotline if you suspect that something is going on. For those who do not know, the number is 800-800-5556.
It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. When we sit and listen to some of the comments that Steve said a few moments ago, it clearly brings a sobering reality to what it is that all of you do and what you work so hard for every day in order to make sure that our children are safe in the community. As a former prosecutor myself and chief deputy, having shared the job that Steve has now, I know the frustrations that he and his staff often go through and the victim advocates that work there who work tirelessly to protect our children and to protect our community. But just as it was noted that we've had a number of cases substantiated, those occurred because folks did see something and they did say something. So the reality is it is working. You are working. You are our strongest resources and our strongest tools to make sure that our children and our community are protected. And so I think you should give yourselves a hands for all of the hard work that you do each and every day to protect our children. Thank you. As mayor of the city, as we close this out today, as we get ready to celebrate the Child Prevention Abuse Month, as Steve said a moment ago, this is one day today, it's 1 month in April, but the reality is it's 365 days a year, 7 days a week. We have to be vigilant and make sure that we continually work hard for prevention of child abuse and neglect in the community. So it's my pleasure today to read to you a proclamation. In its pertinent parts, it says, whereas Madison County Department of Child Services provides services to several hundred children a year that have been declared children in need of services, and whereas children will thrive in family environments free from abuse and neglect, and whereas child abuse and neglect is a significant factor that affects the long-term health and well-being of children and the future adults that they will become, and whereas safe, stable, and nurturing relationships and communities can break the cycle of abuse and maltreatment, and whereas parenting is one of the most challenging and most important jobs in America, everyone has a stake in ensuring that parents and caretakers have resources and support they need to become successful. And child abuse prevention requires partnerships among government agencies, faith-based and community-based organizations, school, law enforcement agencies, social services organizations, and families. And whereas child abuse prevention works, everyone can be involved in child abuse prevention by supporting the local agencies and activities to provide opportunities and support to families in need. Therefore, I, as mayor of the city, hereby proclaim April 2019 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and call upon all the organizations and citizens of Anderson and Madison County to participate in efforts to strengthen our families, protect our children, and prevent child abuse and neglect. And again, let me simply say to each and every one of you, thank you so very much for everything you do for our community. Thank you.